A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin and culture is like a tree without roots. Wise words from one of our very own, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Welcome to our Pre-Heroes Day episode of Jamaica Magazine. It's that time of the year when Jamaicans who have contributed to their communities through various fields will be honored on National Heroes Day tomorrow, Monday, October 16. The ceremony will be held on the lawns of King's House. Please be sure to watch the live happenings. I'm your facilitator, Adrian Atkinson, and there's lots to come, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's time again for the JIS Heritage Essay Competition. Are you a primary school student? Write a 400 to 500 word essay responding to the question, should Jamaica remain under the British monarchy or become a full republic? And win lots of prizes. Visit jis.gov.jm for competition guidelines. Registration opens October 1 and closes October 31. The JIS Heritage Essay Competition 2023. Enter today.
Providing support, getting the right treatment, and learning how to live beyond the diagnosis. This week we're talking about lupus. Watch now as we bring you the facts on this disease.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. Providing support, getting the right treatment, and learning how to live beyond the diagnosis is what's required to help anyone who is currently diagnosed with this chronic autoimmune disease, lupus. The Lupus Foundation of Jamaica, in partnership with the Ministry of Health, has been supporting lupus patients to navigate the challenges of the disease and manage their health. So, here to discuss more on lupus awareness is President of the Lupus Foundation of Jamaica, Dr. Desiree Tulloch-Reed. Welcome to the program, Dr. Tulloch-Reed.
Thank you.
All right.
Good to be here.
Great. Now, right there in the intro, autoimmune disease. Could you really just give us a very quick understanding of lupus as an autoimmune disease? What's that?
Well, that's a good question. The term autoimmune disease may sound mysterious sometimes, but you can break down the word. Auto really means self,
right,
and immune refers to your immune system.
Right.
So what happens in an autoimmune disorder is that our immune systems that normally protect us from infections or other threats by fighting them off, actually end up turning against us. So the immune system becomes dysfunctional, and it starts instead to attack healthy organs and tissues, generating inflammation and causing damage to the tissues, and this leads to illness.
Right.
And there are actually many different kinds of autoimmune conditions. Very often they may attack a particular organ, for instance, many kinds of thyroid disease, or even childhood diabetes, maybe autoimmune, or certain skin conditions. But lupus is considered one of the most serious because with lupus, almost any organ or tissue can become involved.
So how do you diagnose lupus?
So the diagnosis sometimes of lupus is straightforward, other times not so much. They sometimes refer to lupus as the disease of many faces.
Is that tied to the fact that it can impact everywhere, anywhere?
Yes, and so it can present itself in so many different ways because no one person with lupus is the same. So there are some ways that people may commonly present. It may not tell you exactly what is happening, but it can be a warning sign to be checked out. So a common symptom would be just fatigue, unexplained fatigue, lack of energy, getting fevers, swollen lymph nodes. So it can feel like you're getting dengue or something.
Right.
Person's joint pain is another common symptom, and could be any joint, multiple joints. Another common symptom can be rashes, especially unusual skin rashes, like rashes that scar or rashes that occur in places that are exposed to the sun. And there is a classic rash that persons may have across the cheeks and the nose bridge, and they often refer to that as a butterfly rash. And I think that's why sometimes you see a reference to the butterfly as a symbol in lupus. So these are some common symptoms, but depending on where you're being affected, people may have their hair fall out. So hair fall out in patches or all over. Persons may get little ulcers in the nose and the mouth recurrently. There's a symptom we call Raynaud's phenomenon, where your fingers actually change color, turn blue or purple or white when it's cold. So these are some symptoms. Persons may even present with swelling if they have kidney involvement, which may lead them to retain water.
Okay.
And so the list goes on. I mean, you can have it affecting your heart, your lung, chest pain, breathlessness. It can be a range of things, and it can be a cause of anemia or low blood counts, you know. So
you have symptoms like this, you head to the doctor, they will handle the diagnosis. And I'm very curious about this because it seems like such a diverse impacts. Are there different kinds of lupus?
Yes. You can have, we actually refer to, most times when we use the term lupus, we're referring to systemic lupus, or the long version is systemic lupus erythematosus.
Oh boy.
That was the original.
Right.
But the term lupus is often used for different kinds of conditions. But most times nowadays we're referring to systemic lupus, and related to it there is what we call cutaneous lupus, which is lupus that affects the skin only without affecting any organs or systems internally. So we call that cutaneous lupus.
Understood. Thank you for that. How many Jamaicans are living with lupus?
We don't have exact numbers. The estimates that we have usually lie around 6,000 based on, you know, the rates that are observed in Afro-Caribbean populations like ours.
Right. Okay. And what systems of support are there for persons living with lupus?
Well, I volunteer with Lupus Foundation of Jamaica, and I think that we're not the only organization of this kind in different parts of the world where there's a need for support. Persons with lupus deal with many things. As you heard, you know, they may experience debilitating symptoms, including sometimes side effects from treatment. There's a disruption very often of daily life. And if you think of the age group involved, it's unlike most chronic conditions, lupus is often considered a disease of the young. The average age of onset is 22 years old.
Wow.
And there is no cure for lupus yet. And so you can imagine the burden of an illness, especially where there's a potential of a life-threatening illness, and what the implications are for, you know, day-to-day life, having to now have a life of doctor's appointments, of medications, sometimes many medications, lots of testing, and so on. Even if you're doing well, just to make sure you stay well, having to keep that up. You know, so when, yes, you're at the peak of your productive lives, when you're starting a young family, you're working or studying. So support is really, really important. First of all, it can provide information, so actually understanding your illness, learning the practical ways to cope with and to, you know, sort of navigate the whole experience.
Knowledge is power. Doc,
knowledge is power.
I do need to break you right here now. We're going to go to a very quick break, but this is fascinating, and I want you to tell us some more about what support is available. But please stay with us. The conversation continues right after this.
The public sector touches the life of every single Jamaican. And that is why the government is transforming the way the public sector operates by making better use of technology to improve the delivery of public services, by improving the compensation of public sector workers to attract and retain the skills needed to run a modern and efficient public service, through the training of workers to drive performance, innovation, and decision-making, by reducing waste and eliminating corruption, and other measures to make sure the country gets the best value from every dollar spent. The government of Jamaica is building a better public sector for all.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We're continuing our discussion on lupus awareness as we've been talking about, support, and we've been discussing all of this with our guest, President of the Lupus Foundation of Jamaica, Dr. Desiree Tuller-Reed. Doc, you're leading us through support, how important it was, psychological, social, all of that.
Yeah, because living with lupus, as we said, in addition to the disease itself, lupus patients may face delayed diagnosis, difficulty accessing specialized care, as I said, navigating just the whole coping situation, dealing with even the stress of living with a condition that may be poorly understood by others.
Right.
And so that's what we deal with at Lupus Foundation. We're seeking to address all the needs. So this is really a patient-based, it's a patient-based, member-based, volunteer-run organization. Right. And since 1984, we've been providing public awareness, education, because this is important for early diagnosis. We also provide support through our health center, which is at 7 Barbados Avenue. Persons can call in if they need help finding a treatment center, they need advice, they can be part of a support community.
Can they visit?
They can visit, they can come in, get materials to read or videos to watch. They can just, they can get access to a support network, peers or health professionals that can help address the issues that they're having. There's the financial part, because there is help with dealing with maybe expenses that they may have, because treatment can be expensive.
Okay.
We have a discount program in which we have a number of partners that help to defray the cost. Persons get free counseling. They get connected to the newsletter, so they are notified of things happening,
right.
Monthly support group meetings. So a lot of these things are, and just being part of a support community, knowing you're not alone. So advocacy is part of what we do, making sure that the lupus agenda is up there, and and that's been successful in terms of the response we've been getting through the government. So I think it's a partnership,
yes.
And so these are the things that matter.
I see. So October, Lupus Awareness Month, and I understand that there's something happening on October 15.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about October 15 and the other events during the month.
Absolutely. Lupus Awareness Month is our biggest public awareness campaign of the year. All throughout the year we do engage with communities and so on, but this year we ramp it up.
Okay.
And so we are observing Lupus Awareness Month under a special theme called Loop Us, You, Me, Us, Stronger Together. So we're to play on loop. There's a play on the last 2 letters of lupus.
Right.
So it's you, me, us, stronger together, and that's really just it's a call to action, and it's a nod to the community that has been involved in making sure that persons with lupus do well, not just survive but thrive. And so it means that we all have a role, in showing support, and learning all we can, and making a difference.
Right.
So lupus is not just one person's issue. So we have a lot happening this month, and I'll highlight 2 major events that are coming up still. On October 15, which is a Sunday, the Heroes Weekend, at 5 to 8 in the evening.
I notice you're stressing this.
In the evening, yes, because lupus patients shouldn't be in the sun too long. So in the evening, we have our annual Laps for Lupus Awareness Lapathon fundraiser. It's a family-friendly fundraising event. So the fundraising goes on before. So you register or you donate or you sign up your friends to pay you to do laps. And you show up and just have fun with us.
At Emancipation Park.
At Emancipation Park,
right.
Yes, on Sunday, October 15, 5 to 8 p.m. So the other big event we have, and this is free to the public, our annual Lupus Symposium. This is the 34th annual Lupus Symposium. We're focusing on lupus and the heart. So many people are not aware of the impact of lupus on the heart, but heart disease is one of the major factors that can affect lupus outcomes.
Thank you so much for that. You have given us 2 things to attend and a lot to think about.
And
so Doc, in the very last few seconds of the interview, I want you to speak directly to our audience. Just lay on them a bit of awareness about this thing, lupus.
So I just want to say to anyone out there who is affected by lupus that there is hope. You are not alone. There is support. And so we invite you to be part of our community. And for the population out there, lupus affects everyone. You know, get to know lupus, get involved, and show your support. Help us dispel, stigma and remove that sense of isolation that persons may affect. And let's get involved. It's about us, you, me, and us. So we're stronger together.
Thank you, thank you. A call to action, a call to community around lupus. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest today was President of the Lupus Foundation of Jamaica, Dr. Desiree Tuller-Reed. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.
As part of our Heritage Month celebration, we pay homage to our forefathers, the ones who paved the way for the privileges we now enjoy. Watch and learn about our heroes.
Sir Alexander Bustamante, the undisputed champion of the working class. As a trade unionist, he earned the title when he tackled unemployment and the terrible pay and working conditions facing working-class Jamaicans. Sir Alexander spoke fearlessly against the English colonial rulers, writing several letters to the Gleaner and occasionally to British newspapers. Widespread discontent led to social unrest in 1937 and 1938, and all the time, Bustamante continued to champion the cause of the people. On September 8, 1940, he was detained for an alleged violation of the Defense of the Realm Act. He was locked up for a year and 5 months. Sir Alexander later founded the Jamaica Labour Party in 1943 and won the first general election under universal adult suffrage in 1944. He also became the first Prime Minister of an independent Jamaica in 1962. Sir Alexander died in 1977.
Scholar, soldier, athlete, statesman, and advocate, Norman Washington Manley supported the cause of the workers at the time of the labor troubles of 1938 and gave his time on their behalf. In that same year, Manley founded the People's National Party, PNP, and remained as its president until his retirement in 1969. Manley and the PNP supported the trade union movement, leading the demand for universal adult suffrage, which eventually came in 1944. He became chief minister after the 1955 election and later premier in 1958 when Jamaica joined the West Indies Federation. Although he was a staunch supporter of the Federation, N.W. Manley put the issue to the people, holding a referendum in 1961 to decide if the country should remain in the Federation. The answer was no, and Manley arranged for Jamaica's orderly withdrawal. He then set up a joint committee to decide on a separate constitution for independent Jamaica. With great distinction, Manley led the team that negotiated the island's independence from Britain. He ended his public service career as the leader of the opposition. Norman Manley died on September 2, 1969.
She's the only female among the pack, known by both the Maroons and then British settlers as an outstanding military leader who became, in her lifetime and after, a symbol of unity and strength for her people during times of crisis. We speak of Nanny of the Maroons.
Granny Nanny, oh, yeah, yeah. Granny Nanny,
Mante, my name is Marcia Douglas, currently the acting colonel of the Charleston Maroon community, the chief.
Welcome to our museum.
So the role of Nanny of the Maroon in Freedom for the Maroon is that she provide, or she make herself into the diligent leader that one would have been looking for. One with spirituality, one with the zeal of moving on, and one with the zeal to protect. And so what she did was to ensure that her people had been served the right way, in which she ensures that they were no longer in slavery. So what she did was to undermine the British on the plantation with the help of her two sisters, Mishibo Kwashi and Shanti Rose. And so doing that, they took their people to the mountains where they had an advantage over the British. The British had to import dogs or bloodhounds from Cuba to hunt them down. Now later on, when the treaty was signed and Jamaica gained independence, it was really a hard tussle for people to recognize Nanny for who she was. Thanks to recent Colonel Harris of Moortown, who had made that one of his deepest dream and one of his aim, one of the most sustainable things that he was going to work on, so that Nanny could have been today the national heroine of Jamaica.
We continue to remember our heroes.
Born in Stony Gut, St. Thomas in the 1820s, he suffered as a slave. He toiled in the hot sun, working and praying for the day he could say, "Yes, freedom come." And when that day came, the day he was free, the plan of becoming fully independent was his next feat. One he accomplished, small farmer, then landowner, to being one of 106 persons on the voters list. He was well on his way. So much so, he became a Baptist deacon in the village, a true Jamaican activist, angered by the injustices and oppression faced by the people in St. Thomas by one Governor Edward Eyre. So, he gathered his people and marched onward they did, left, right, on October 11, 1865, the day of the Morant Bay Rebellion. Over 500 people died, but not in vain. That special day spurred changes in the social and economic conditions of people not only in St. Thomas, but the entire Jamaica. The Right Excellent Paul Bogle, the man who lived and died for his people on October 24, 1865. A man of honor, a man of truth, our national hero.
Think on this. How would you feel if Sunday is your regular rest day off from work, but just because Christmas Day falls on that day, your boss unilaterally decides you do not deserve an extra day of rest? Added to that, the previous Christmas you were entitled to 3 days off during the season, but months before this particular holiday, a law was passed giving only 2 days. This is the kind of injustice and ill treatment that was meted out to Samuel Sharp. Up to 1830, the enslaved were allowed 3 days holiday at Christmas. In February 1831, the House of Assembly passed a law reducing Christmas holidays from 3 to 2, Christmas and Boxing Day only. Since Christmas Day 1831 fell on Sunday, a rest day, Sharp believed that they were entitled to the following Tuesday. A strike ensued. The resistance to work ballooned into what history records as the Christmas Rebellion, the ill-fated event that helped pave the way to freedom. Born about 1780, Sam Sharp was the slave of an English lawyer in Montego Bay, St. James. Sharp was the lay deacon of the Birchell Baptist Church and became a leader in the congregation. Sam, Daddy Sharp, saw the injustices of slavery and inspired his fellow brothers and sisters to participate in Jamaica's first strike action. There were no labor laws at that time that spoke to the rights or privileges of slaves. Sharp may be considered a forerunner to the labor movement as he fought for the rights of his fellow workers. For this, Samuel Sharp was hanged on May 23, 1832. But as he said,
"I would rather die upon yonder gallows than live in slavery."
In 1834, the Abolition Bill was passed by the British Parliament, and in 1838, slavery was abolished.
us what we are. And out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. Follow always that great law. Let God and the sky be our limit and eternity our measure.
Marcus Garvey has paved the way for us to determine our own destiny, in which we validate who we are and what is most important to us.
It is he who taught us that the black skin is not a badge of shame, but rather a glorious symbol of national greatness.
I shall teach the black man to see beauty in his own kind and stop bleaching his skin and otherwise looking like what he's not.
Encouraging us to heed the lessons of history, unleash the power of the pen, and create a new era of scientific greatness.
There is no future for people who deny their past. Mind creates, and as much as we desire in nature, we can have through the creation of our own mind. Liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. But in your homes and everywhere possible, you must teach the higher development of science to your children.
Jamaica's first national hero was born in St. Anne's Bay on August 17, 1887. Over the next half-century and 3 years, he would work, find love twice, raise his progeny, and leave behind a legacy that resulted in him being conferred with the Order of the National Hero in 1969. A lifetime after the UNIA was a fact, and the People's Political Party had foreshadowed modern self-governance, Marcus Garvey died in 1940 and finally returned home for lasting rest in 1964.
George William Gordon, now Right Excellent George William Gordon, national hero, was born in 1815, the son of a Scottish father and an enslaved Jamaican mother. He got a call to make the world a better place, and for that he was never forgiven. You should know then that conditions in Jamaica then were just unbelievable. People were suffering. 311,000 persons in 1838 enslaved, received their freedom and were just thrown outside. And what George William Gordon did, he bought lands and he cut up the lands and allowed the poor, the dispossessed, to have access to the land. And his colleagues did not like that. He chastised the governor in meetings right at the space that the governor needed to do more for the people. And the governor didn't like it, called him a mischief maker. And this is the space where George William Gordon came to, as it were, give up himself because he heard they were looking for him. And from here, he was taken to St. Thomas, where he was tried and hanged on the 23rd of October, 1865.
And just like that, we're signing out for today. But not to worry, you can rewatch this offering or other content like this by visiting our website, jis.gov.jm. Do join us again on this same station tomorrow as we bring another informative, educational and entertaining package of Jamaica Magazine. On behalf of all of us here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.